And then the emotional part, in her book, Joan Rosenberg talks about all the negative emotions can be distilled to these 8. And the reason why to come to these 8 is because if you don't label it, you run the risk of everything just being anxiety, and then everything is just bad. And this is where people say there's nothing good. The exercise is this. This is what we're going to put in here. So this was the prevention. We have positivity as prevention. And now we're going to put in a new habit on the emotional side. So when you do get triggered, you can turn it around quickly. So you want to locate that emotion. Where is it? Where do I feel it? And this gets you to acknowledge it. You're starting to think about it. You're accepting it. You're not suppressing it. You're curious about it. And then you label it. Give it one of these 8. And, I'm going to trust Joan Rosenberg. Why do I need to come up with more? Which one of the 8? And then what's the lesson from it? So locate L, label L, learn. And this happens in seconds. And the basis of this is that emotions were never meant to be dwelled upon or harbored. If it's energy in motion, it's flowing through 90 seconds, it's done. When you stick and hold on to an emotion, it becomes a feeling. Now it's in your network of neurons and it's ready to be called up by the next anxious thought that you have. Let those emotions pass through. Now, in the beginning, when working with the client, we have to process a lot of these emotions, and I give them cues and things like cancel, and stuff like that. And that's just wisdom. You have to teach them some cues to where these negative thoughts come up. They have a quick way of disposing them, not suppressing, but disposing. Why bring up something negative that happened 30 years ago? Why let that impact your thinking? It's wisdom, or it's just something you cancel, or if it had nothing to do with you, if you learned from it, it's wisdom. If it had nothing to do with you, you just cancel it. And if it did have something to do with you, you just made a mistake. You did your best, but you made a mistake. Change the philosophy about it. So yeah, some things don't work, some things work, some things don't. Anyway, that's more about getting that person to unpack all of those emotions that keep coming up, as you can imagine. So we talked about the infinite possibilities. I've talked about this slide some, where, this is the happy area, comfort zone. We break through, I mentioned breaking through that barrier. And notice I have good experiences in here. Some of these you would expect, bad experiences, things people said to us, getting cheated, betrayed, whatever. But there's good experiences. Sometimes something works so well that we're not willing to do anything else. This is where superstitions come from. And people just get locked in and no, I can't do it that way, because if I don't do it this way, it doesn't work. And it's all false. It's all false because the subconscious has made that association so strong. And then you have the emotion with it. And maybe, I talk about intensity, duration, repetition. Those are the 3 things that are going to drive your conditioning. And if you have enough intensity, it could be a very small thing that gets deeply conditioned. And then I talked about the unfamiliar and the unknown. So infinite possibilities. It can be daunting up here because that's that cognitive dissonance is going to keep kicking in. But remember, you can't break through into a new paradigm, a new reality, a new designed life without breaking from the past. So understand it's cognitive dissonance. Don't mistake it for anxiety, and then you can work with it. The principles and frameworks during the transition, I mentioned that. So we're going to use frameworks, best practices, and principles. And then we want to focus on our strengths and consistency. So we're not going to chase every opportunity. We're not going to react to every threat because most of them don't matter. If we're focused on principles, strengths, and simplicity, it's going to work out. Companies who are in operational excellence know this. They just keep doing their thing. Now, every once in a while, something needs their attention, and you'll have ways of doing that by looking at your KPIs. But as long as it's kind of within this zone, we just keep operating. Then when it starts getting out of that zone, okay, maybe it's time to do a pivot. This becomes a project. Then with operational excellence, it gets to that place. Maybe we do a project or a pivot. And that's what I have here, the projects and pivots and operational focus. And then we've got the workshop tomorrow, 7 a.m. Pacific time. You can sign up at the neuroplasticsolutions.com workshop. And we will see you. And check back because that link will still work. If I have another workshop in a couple of weeks, that link will still work for it. All right. So that is it. We will see you hopefully in the audio event. If not, next week, if you have somebody who wants to view this, I have scheduled another live event next week, and I'll do the audio event after the morning one. So I'm doing it at 7 a.m. and that way the people from Europe, it's like they're 3 o'clock, and then they can they can participate in the audio event afterwards. But that's it for now, and we'll see you next time. Thank you for joining.